All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another great video. Today, we're looking here at the E-mini S&P 500. If you don't know much about the channel, I trade supply and demand. Okay, so that's how I, place my entries into the market. I look for aggressive pullbacks to areas where there's aggressive buying or aggressive selling. Okay, so understand that. Right now we're moving sideways since the close of yesterday's trading session. This is off my lower time frame, my 12 range chart. We've been making higher highs and higher lows, just in a small little channel to the upside. Excuse me, even though we have been right now just kind of moving sideways right now. Okay, so consolidating, possibly for a move to the upside. Not sure. But if we look at the HTF, the higher time frame, my 60 range chart, we're still bearish. Okay, so you know what I talk about when I'm always talking about confluence, confirmation, looking for and moving in the same direction as your higher time frame chart. Okay, trading supply and demand. Once again, I'm not a support and resistance style trader. I purely trade supply and demand. Okay, so with that said, yes, should be looking for short positions, but in this case here, and looking at what the market's going to intentionally try to do, is it going to break structure to the upside now? Maybe we could look for a pullback to this aggressive area down here at the bottom. There's discounted prices here. Prices are when the market could pull back below a high volume area, buy the lows, sell the highs. So I'm not looking to buy in this area. I'm looking to buy down here. So let's sit back and wait to see what unfolds in the market. I did take an entry on a pullback to go long here shortly after the market opened. Because the fact was I saw the market pushing higher. Okay, it was breaking through pretty much this area right here. You see where there was aggressive selling to the downside, the market pushed up. Okay, and it broke above what I call the mean of an area or a supply or demand zone. Okay, so which is pretty much the halfway point or of the supply zone here in this case. Okay, so the zone was right here. If I box it out, and it pushed up, I was looking for a pullback to continuation to go long to test the highs, and that's what it did. Test the highs of today's London session, wicked it out, took it out, made a new high here, and it did not close above it though. Okay, did not close. So right now, after that, it pushed down. Okay, and right now it's testing the highs again today. So I'm looking at down here what took place down here. If this could have been an opportunity to go long. Yeah, it looks like this may have been an opportunity to go long, waiting for the rejection. But you have to be careful here because the market could have ran back to this area right here. You may have got in and taken out with with a few points here. But I'm looking to see if the market, what it's trying to do now. Is it going to push higher? Maybe come back to this area here, give me an opportunity to go long. We'll see. And the key to really an overall supply or demand, or really any strategy, if you're really trying to follow what smart money is doing, meaning when people talk about SMC, smart money concepts, they're talking about what the big institutions, the banks are really trying to do. Okay, the market movers, what are they overall trying to accomplish in the market? And if you really know how to read the market, you can understand, and you should be able to understand when you see big aggressive moves, you got to think who's making those or putting on orders like that. Okay, this was, say for instance, a big push to the upside here, which means the institution is probably more likely involved. You can bet your bottom dollar involved in this push to the upside, putting on buy orders. Okay, or filling long positions. All right, so that's why I'm waiting to see what's going to happen back here. You got to, wherever you see those big areas of impulse moves or displacement, areas where the market is really pushing in solid one direction, gapping down, like it gapped up here, all these bullish candles here. That means that they were pushing the market hard, trying to fill as many orders as possible, and the market just ran to the upside right there. So, it's a possibility, a strong possibility once the market comes back here that there could be an opportunity to go long. Okay, so we'll see, because if, my thing would be, I like to see price take out run the highs, then pull back, right? Be a great opportunity to go long down here for continuation to see the market go higher. But we have to wait to see what's going to actually take place and unfold. The same thing kind of like right here where this green box is marked from yesterday. I I took a trade position there yesterday. All right. And I didn't post it on Discord because I was kind of not, didn't look at really my charts till the latter part of yesterday. But this was a supply zone sitting right here. There was an imbalance resting there. The market pulls back to it. Okay, taps into the supply zone, and it filled the imbalance there, rejected the zone, and look what happens. It takes off to the downside. Why? Impulse moved to the downside here, okay? A big area of displacement where the market pushed lower, with all this selling activity right here. Retail traders can't do that. It is the big institutions that are filling orders, lots of orders real quick, what causes the market to push lower. And most times, I said this before, when there are orders that are left behind in most instances or cases because of this just aggressive filling and trying to process or transact orders at this zone here, more than likely a lot of orders got left behind. So they're going to try to bring the market back to that area to fill in the rest of their positions to do what? To run the market lower. And that's what happens in this situation right here. So that's why supply and demand is so powerful. But you must understand supply is aggressive selling, demand is aggressive buying. So you have to be able to understand that and look for those big pushes in the market and understand who's doing it. If the institutions are the big players in the market and they're the ones that are pushing the market or driving the market in either direction, then look for those big moves, wait for price to come back to them, and be a counterpart in those type of transactions when price pulls back to them. Now, you won't know at certain where in the market at any given time they're going to want to say, okay, we're going to run stops, whether it be buy stops or sell stops, whatever the case is, and then turn the market back around. You're not going to know, but you will see the footprint when you see areas of aggressive buying or selling in the market. You can almost bet your bottom dollar when price gets back to it. Now, you don't jump right into it when price retraces to it, but wait for the rejection. When you get the rejection, then take your shot, right? So let's see what happens here when price comes back down to the zone here. I'm not guaranteeing anything that price is actually going to reject it, but it's, a strong possibility because all this aggressive buying to the upside here. So, but we have to be mindful because we are in a wedge right now, as you can see here, in a wedge. The market did make a new high here, but it didn't take out and break structure right here. So what happened here? It came up with this area out right here, okay? Didn't get a break of structure, did push higher, then it did a market structure shift to the downside. This aggressive selling to the downside on a pullback would have been a great area to do what? To go short, to run the lows right here, okay? So if you would have got in, you say, for instance, to close this candle here at 82, the market did pull back, but you could have picked up, let's see here, 4 points right there, pretty easy, and it did continue pushing a little lower, testing the low of pretty much just swing to the upside here, but the low right here, now this was a aggressive area of buying back to the upside. It took out small area structure right here as it moved to the upside here. So price comes back to that zone. It possibly could have been an entry if it would scale down to a lower time frame, say the full range chart, to get into an opportunity to take price back up to this area right here, okay? Or at least for it to run the area of liquidity at the top side here at 86. So, but we're going to be patient and wait and see what unfolds in the market right now. Again, the key is supply and demand. Areas where there is aggressive force, aggressive movement, displacement, if you want to call that, impulsive moves in either direction, up or down, okay? Now that trade intro I went long at, I do want to say this. If you're interested in joining our Discord community, find the link down in the description portion of the video. People always ask how they can join the Discord. Find that link down in the video description, okay? I post my screenshots of my entries on the Discord community so that fellow members in community, those that join, can actually see my trade setups or trade entries, as well as, we have, a few hundred on the channel each day that are part of the trading floor. Okay, that is a channel on the Discord community. It's called the trading floor, to where we post our trade entries, and not just me, but tons and hundreds of other community members as well. So it's just a way to those that join the community can actually get a grasp and understanding of the setups we're looking to take. Okay, lots of times I'll throw out levels out there that I'm looking at or interested in trading. So, but you have to understand one thing for sure, guys. Not every zone is going to play out. Not every trade is going to work in your favor. Okay, the key to it is proper risk management. Now we got a break of structure here to the upside, close of the candle. That's the key when it comes to supply and demand, looking for breaks of structure, is the close of a candle, okay? Above a high or a low, you know? Swing, pull back, boom, break higher, break of structure to the upside, all right? So price already checked this area down here. You know, this was a aggressive move to the upside here. Impulse move, lots of buying. So we could possibly come back to this area here. I'm going to mark this area. I'm not saying it's going to 100% reject it when it gets to the zone, but what am I looking for here? Rectangle. I'm going to mark this area right here. This is and we have an imbalance right here. So where would I classify the imbalance? The imbalance would be in this zone right here. Okay. All right. That's the imbalance that price left behind when it aggressively pushed to the upside here. The zone itself, if I mark it from, let's see here. Okay. From this area here to that here. All right. Let me kind of clean that up a little bit here. Okay. Right there. And we will mark this area here as our supply zone. Our demand zone. And let's see. I'll mark it with a red box. Not red box. Let's undo that. Let me mark it with outline. Here we go. I want the outline to be that color. Okay. All right. There we go. So we have our imbalance right there, demand zone right there. Maybe hopefully price will pull back to it, reject it, and then we can look to go long, right? Where if price pulls back to this area, hopefully we can look to go long back up to the highs. We will wait patiently and see what happens. All right, so we are pulling back as I was hoping that we would do. We'll see. We are almost tapping into this imbalance area here. We have a demand zone resting right below it. So this is an imbalance off of the demand zone resting below. So let's see. There's also a fair value gap right here from this candle, green candle here, close of this candle here, pullback. So we got an area of a fair value gap right there, FVG. So price could reject that area and push higher. So it's just a matter of waiting to see what takes place. The way I trade, supply and demand, I prefer for it to pull back to the imbalance that rests right above the demand zone and possibly into the demand zone itself, and then look for an opportunity based on rejection to go long. So wait to see what happens here. If you appreciate the commentary here in videos like this, where I pretty much are discussing and giving an explanation of what I see and how I see the market unfolding and what I'm waiting on as far as trade setups, even if we don't take a trade setup today, I already took one, a little bit over a 4-point move there. And so I'm waiting to see if we possibly get another setup here. Now it is after 11 o'clock, and typically somewhere between 10:30 and 11 during the New York session, we typically see or U.S. session, we typically see a change in the direction of the market. The market shifts direction. So I'm not sure if we're going to get a reversal or not. Happened today. Right now, we got this little small move to the upside, even though we are still bearish, like I said, guys. So be careful. Overall, when it comes to looking at the higher time frame, we are in a downtrend. Okay, so but in looking at the lower time frame, there's still a possibility for setups to look for opportunities to go long, where we see aggressive areas of buying at. So I'm waiting to see what's going to take place here. Are we going to tap into this and just push lower, or are we going to tap into it, reject the area, and then get a push to the upside here? I am long right now, guys. Looks like we got rejection off this fair value gap right here. So I am long. Just looking for price to come back and to this area right here. It's possibly going to run the highs here. But I got to be careful right here because we are back at the highs right here. So let's see here. I might just take out right here 2 points and be done on this trade here because we're back at the highs. I'm not going to ask for too much here. Just a quick little scalp to the upside. Come on, fill the order. I'm not sure if we're going to get it here. Okay, got filled right there. Quick little scalp. Pull back, had a little fair value gap right here. Price rejected it. And it may try to run to the upside and take out the highs now and keep pushing higher. May feel this imbalance right here, come up to this zone here, and may get some rejection here. We'll see. But I'm going to sit back and wait it out. Or it could come back lower. It could reject this area here, push down to where I originally wanted to take my trade from, get the rejection, and then push higher. So I'm going to wait and see what takes place. So again, what we saw unfold right here, so I would have got, hit my TP where I originally had it at. Price may try to run the highs now. But again, what we had here, this was an imbalance here. We had a fair value gap from what the close of above this candle right here, this candle here, okay, pulls back. We got a small little zone right here, okay? So price pulls back to it, rejects. You can wait for a close of a candle in opposite direction and take your trade or shot going long. And that's pretty much what I did, to take it back up to the highs right here. Now, again, it can run the highs or it could continue pushing lower. So this could be a pullback to push lower. But either way, there was rejection right here. Bottom lows, we're above, below a high volume area here. So this is not a quote unquote a demand setup. This is more so a fair value gap setup at the rejection at the FVG. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, that would have been a beautiful trade if I'd stayed into it, but that's okay. Sometimes when I'm trading from a fair value gap area like that, I'm looking just to take out at the high or the prior high before, right here, price pulled back to this FVG. So the thing about it is now, where's price going to? All right, so it looks like it's trying to push higher here. This could be a break of structure if we get the candle close right here to the upside, testing this area right here. There's still some imbalance right here back at the supply zone where price could fill in. So we'll see. I mean, it could fill in the zone here or fill in this imbalance and then push a little higher and test the demand zone. Excuse me, the supply zone, not demand, supply, and reject. Again, if I see closure above the halfway point of the supply zone, and then I'm more likely would not take a trade, okay, going short. All right, now there was a bit of aggressive selling here to the downside, as you can see, and price ran lower, taking out some levels. So right now price is not completely broken with a breaker structure to the upside, so we'll see. Now I'm pulling up this this RTH chart, which is regular trading hour chart of the 12 off the 12 range. You can see we had a small gap at the opening of last night's session, and so that's the open range gap in between the close of yesterday, the opening, and the opening of the overnight session. Price came back today and filled that in. Now, if you look at from the close of the 23rd, the 22nd, June 22nd to June 23rd, price has still not filled in this opening range gap here. So it could possibly come up there today and want to fill in all this area right here from the left behind or left open from the 22nd to the opening of the 23rd. So I'm not saying it will, but there's still a gap that needs to be closed in. All right. Again, that's off of a RTH chart that I'm looking at as well. All right, so now we got a breaker structure to the upside here. Nice aggressive buying, demand zone resting right here. Took out breaker structure to the upside. So we can go ahead and mark what? Our demand zone resting, let's see, right here in this area here. So pretty much we'll do this right here, demand zone, okay? And we also have a small little fair value, imbalance right here between the top of the zone and this candle right here. After it broke to the upside here, it pulled back a little bit right here. So we got a small little imbalance right there, okay? Now, we're testing this this supply zone sitting right here, okay? Right here is filled that gap now, all right? Beautiful aggressive opportunity or buying to the upside here. So, loads of impulse buying right there. So who's doing this? The big institutions, the banks. So let's look for an opportunity to go long back here below a high volume area, okay? And if you have the what I like to call the range volume profile tool, you can mark off this area of the swing right here, and just as well you can see price pulls back. Where is it resting at? Below a high volume area. And this is actually the what they like to call the range profile POC of the zone that I drew out, or the little micro or mini range profile tool I'm using. But still, this would be a good zone to possibly look for an opportunity to go long. Why? Aggressive buying, break a structure to the upside, wait for the pullback. So one other thing I want to point out too, this was the 26th, which was yesterday's trading session. You see this daily candle right here, okay? Look what happened. If you see, this buying to the upside here, okay? Price making higher highs and higher lows. We have a big push to the upside right here, right? Okay, on the daily. All right, now this is a higher time frame, okay? But still, when price broke, you see this candle right here. Next candle close above, we get a pullback right here, okay? This daily candle on the 13th. It left what? It left an area or fair value gap right there, okay? So that's an inefficiency, if you want to call it that, where price pushed higher, okay? Look what happens. It comes back in yesterday's trading session, even prior to that on the move to the downside. What is it doing there? It's coming back. It's testing areas where there is inefficiencies in the market at, okay? Gaps, fair value gaps, okay? It comes back to it. It fills in that inefficiency area there. And what does it do? All right, it's starting to reject that zone, okay? So keep those type things in mind as well. Off of a higher time frame, the daily chart, we tapped into yesterday and filled in an inefficiency area, all right, and price is rejecting from it. All right, so the market is pushing higher and could be trying to aim for this area right here. This is that supply zone in this area right here, box with this green rectangle box. There's a small imbalance right there from 11 and a quarter down to 08. So there's about a 3-point imbalance right there. And there's a supply zone resting right here. So if we look at what possibly happened today, we can see the market consolidated, started consolidating prior to the U.S. session or New York session at the opening of London session pretty much. And we kept, not breaking structure to the upside, but kind of just consolidating here, pushed up, pulled back, broke higher with a slight swing to the upside here or wicking out this area. And then we got a final break to the upside, break a structure here. So when we see things like that, the market consolidating, it could pull back to a key area, whether it's a demand zone or a fair value gap, and then break to the upside. So the activity today in the market is bullish, and I mentioned that earlier in the video with price making these higher highs and higher lows. So this was a consolidation into the opening of today's session, and the market finally breaking higher. When you see situations like that, most times the market is, especially if it pulls back and we have an area where there may have been like this impulse move to the upside here and left behind a fair value gap, especially if there's a nice demand zone sitting below it, price could tap into it and then continue making this move to the upside, aiming for higher areas, particularly a high, a unfilled imbalance area, or in this case here, supply zone. So we'll see if the market is trying to run higher or not. I'm not interested at this point to take any trades, especially going long, unless we get some pullback. Now that I see that maybe possibly we are in a bullish uptrend into today's session and possibly moving higher. I'm not saying that this is the overall direction because we still are bearish looking at the higher time frame, but we could get a pullback here to continue pushing higher. Why? Because this is an impulsive move to the upside here. Aggressive buying, demand zone resting right here. It could come back and fill all these imbalances in, reject this area below the high volume area, and then take back off to the upside, looking for some higher areas. All right, so the market, as I mentioned, looks like it was trying to run up here, and there's a supply zone here. We have I mentioned about that imbalance sitting right there between 8 and 11. So 4,000, what was it, 11 and 4,008. So price, this is the supply zone. Price is pulling up to that area there, testing that imbalance at that zone there, okay? It's ran the high right here above 7 3/4. So we'll see what happens here. Price could actually reverse at this time now and possibly maybe want to try to push lower. Being that it ran these highs right here, so and it's tapping into this imbalance area where this zone is at. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna scale down to the lower time frame now, just looking to see if we get a possible market structure shift. I don't know. I mean, we've got this aggressive move, lots of buying to the upside here. So I'm going to wait to see what actually takes place. But yeah, I mean, it looks like after the market came down and tapped into this area, didn't come into the demand zone right here, but it filled in, almost filled in this area of imbalance right here, rejected that area of imbalance or that fair value gap area right there, and turned back around and started pushing higher. All right, so got a pretty much a reversal on the day um, to well, I'm not gonna say a reversal on the day because it actually started yesterday when we pushed lower here, had a market structure shift and started making these higher high and higher low run to the upside. So we'll see what happens. So again, what we had was price tapping into that imbalance area off the higher time frame I showed you. What that red line is at right here, pretty much that is the area of demand, but it tapped into that imbalance area, started running to the upside. There was some consolidation here, price break structure to the upside. So we get a market structure shift, right? And then we get a break of structure to the upside. We've got aggressive buying coming out of this area right here. Price taps back into this fair value gap right here, a small fair value gap in this area right here. The aggressive buying took place at, pulls back into it, boom, takes off to the upside and started testing those higher areas, trying to run the highs here from looks like the 23rd of June. Okay, and we also have that imbalance right here where the supply zone here is off the higher time frame, and it's testing that area, that imbalanced area right there. So it may try to fill that area in. It hadn't 100% completely filled in this imbalanced area here at the bottom. There's still a few points area, maybe a point and a half point there that it needs to fill in. So, but it did run these highs, and it may break from this area here and push lower. At this point right now, I'll be honest with you, we have, and looking at the higher time frame, we broke to the upside now. So we've got an actual directional shift in the market. Okay, where the bias was bullish. I mean, excuse me, bearish to the downside. Now we've kind of got a little bit a bullish sentiment now, I say. Okay, because we just broke this high right here above 44.08. All right, so that's just my take on the market and how I'm reading it, guys. Okay, now this was a nice move to the downside, but this is off of a higher time frame chart, and now we've actually broken structure to the upside here, taking out this high right here. So now that it's run that high, tapping into an imbalance area, what will it try to do now? Will it try to reject, and push lower, get a market structure shift to the downside, and maybe start testing some lower areas, or will it continue pushing higher? Okay, so we're rotating here at the tops here at that area of, let's look at the higher time frame right quick. It's been kind of an all-day event, kind of back and forth looking at my charts. This area right here, supply sitting up here. We have this area of, take a look here. Yeah, that supply zone with the higher time frame. There's an area of imbalance here off of the 12 range. The market is, I believe, has filled now. Let's see. Let me see for sure. 23.25. Not quite yet. A few ticks, but it's in that imbalance area off the 12 range. So we could get some rejection here. One, higher time frame supply, even a supply area resting up here on the 12 range imbalance. So we got a lot of influence right there. So that's why we see the market rotating right now. We could get some rejection right here for price to come back down and test this area here. This here was a lot of aggressive buying to the upside here. So we had a big displacement of price pushing higher and taking out key areas like right here. This see this high right here is resting at 44.12. Price took that out. So that's an area of liquidity that price took out. Let's see. It could come lower. It could break this. If it breaks this, we'll be looking for price to come back down here to around the 4400 area. This area here was also a impactful area of great buy-in to the upside here. So then there is a small little imbalance right there with the demand zone, and we also have an imbalance resting up here as well. With this is an area of demand, so we'll see when price comes back down where it possibly wants to stop it. But if I get rejection here, which we're currently getting. So this was a push up, pullback, quick grab of liquidity here at the tops right here, basically running buy stops or buy side stops right here, stopping traders out. Okay, and then the market shifts to the downside, and then I would be looking for a possible short entry, but we'll see what plays out here. So I'd be looking for something along the lines of what it's doing right now, kind of a push down, pull back, and kind of breaking lower. So making lower low, lower high. I want to pull back to go short, aiming for this area. Could break here and possibly test some lower areas. Now, you know, if we look at volume in reference to volume, you know, it could want to test these areas here, maybe even come back down to this area here. So we'll see what happens, but we're getting closer to close of the today session, so I'm not sure if this is going to unfold today into the overnight session or well, I'm sure something will take place in the overnight session, but I'm not sure if it's going to actually unfold within the next hour. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this video up, guys. It's kind of been of a all-day session. I mean, we didn't get too much going on. I mean, if you got into the trade down here somewhere and was able to hold this trade going long, aiming for, you know, a higher time frame supply in this area here, okay, then you did very well today. I'll say that. But outside of that, I mean, that's all I have for you guys, and be honest with you. We are showing some rejection in that zone. We can see we got a market structure shift to the downside. Could possibly get a pullback to push lower. So that's why I have this area marked right here. We have a high volume area. So maybe a pullback here, get some rejection, and maybe take a short entry. But we'll see what happens into the overnight session. But that's all I have for you guys today. I really only took, I think, 2 trades today. First one was here, around this area here, and I'm gonna pull back right here. So the trade here I posted on Discord, and this one I did not capture a screenshot of the post on Discord, but this one I did. But anyways, I appreciate everyone tuning in today and watching today's session or live recorded video of me trading the E-mini S&P 500. I will see you guys tomorrow back on Discord, and hopefully get some trades that we can enter into tomorrow, which is the 28th of June. Take care. See you in the next one.